made a song about that. Signs.
Did you talk to him? Oh,
Tim? Sequest?
no.
No.
Mark, we'll talk later. We'll talk again.
It's 6.
Okay, it's 6 o'clock. If you will join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to open up the first budget workshop here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And it is 6 p.m.
Amen.
Okay. Looks like call to order, pledge allegiance, town fund, general assistance. What we're going to do is, if we don't mind,
Do the roll call.
yeah, take attendance. That'd be nice.
Supervisor Barla,
I'm here.
trustees Shaver,
Yes.
Yeager, absent. Barla, oh, I'm right
I can't be
there.
here.
Medlick,
Yeah.
who else?
And then it goes absent. Michelle is absent.
Michelle's absent.
Yep.
How about we have a caucus?
Okay. It was, Mary had approached me earlier in the week and asked if she could go first, so I just assumed. At that point in time, I said yes. So we'll not do that, we'll go to Jim second, and then we'll hang around at the end for us. So go ahead, if you want to start.
You want me to? Yeah.
Sure.
So they have what we.
Yeah.
Okay, basically the biggest difference in the salary section is the additional increase in the
Yep.
assessor salary going up starting in January.
May,
So only with 3 months of that.
January.
Hers goes
Oh,
from
yeah.
January.
Ours is May. Yours is May.
Couple of things on the line items under contractual services. I reduced the appraisal amount just because we're a couple of years before a quadrennial, so
Yeah.
cut that down a couple thousand. We went up a little bit on the telephone internet based on current use. I asked for an increase in travel and mileage and training, just because I have another staff member who's now a certified CIAO, and so it would be another person doing continuing ed. A little bit more in fuel. Right. It'll kick that up. So other than that, let's see, we got just a little bit in dues. I'm not sure if we actually need that, but and then postage. We send out a lot of letters. We send letters to new homeowners, and
There was an increase last year.
Yep.
And there's gonna be another increase in July.
and the stamp increase. Yeah. So
Yeah.
every property transaction, residential, we send a letter with information on the exemptions and things that they need to do to make sure they have them. So there's been a lot of those, a lot of sales. So we didn't ask for an increase there, but other than that, overall. Oh, and then capital outlay. I've been looking at for a couple of years is a change in the way our, when someone goes to the website, the property information on our township is on the top, and then there's a second page there. So you can take a look at this, sorry.
Thank you.
It's just a more user-friendly at Nunda. The way it comes up, it basically, if you looked at the way our website is set up, it would say things like plumbing fixtures, which doesn't tell you how many bathrooms there are, Nunda, it tells you how many bathrooms. That's 2 bathrooms. It's a much more user-friendly format. Also puts the picture of the property on there, and I also put the sketch. So we get a lot of calls from appraisers for our property sketch. We don't have it on our website, so we have to send it to them. We don't have to, but we do. Just, we want them to have our sketch. It would be helpful for appeal time for someone who's looking to compare their property to other properties. It's definitely easier to read.
So on the back end, if I remember correctly, for your preparation to go and support an appeal, you currently cut and paste out of or wherever you cut and paste it from, and build your own spreadsheets for comparisons, whereas the new upgrade will allow you to check box similar properties, and it pulls it together for you, so there's a time savings there, correct?
Actually, what would happen is, what we have now is stationary.
Correct.
We have to send them, when we change our assessments every year, when we're done with that, we get our numbers back from the county. We have to send that to one of the XCal guys.
Oh, yeah.
Who uploads all that information into the website. It stays that way until the next time we change it, which would be after all appeals are done. So that we pay for that. We pay for those additional changes. That only person that XCal has is located in Florida. The last 2 years, we've run into a timing thing where there just happened to be a hurricane coming through, so we had a delay of transferring that. We like to have it done. We have to get those numbers from the county. It takes a couple of days, but we like to have them when taxpayers are getting their notices, which there's been a delay the last few years. The new system that I've looked at and what Nunda uses literally pulls everything. Once they set it up, it pulls all the information and changes it. When I change information, it now is in there. When you pull up, if there's a sale on a property, it shows up. If we've changed the assessment, it shows up. New pictures, it would show up. So we have, it's more up to date whenever they need it. And certainly more people are going to use it around appeal time or looking at comparing their property to other similar properties, and they would have the most current information at that time. And then once, if we change to this system, once we upload we have our numbers and then the township factors applied. Once we have those in our system, it would automatically be there. We wouldn't have to send the files to someone to upload. So so the quote I got, an approximate quote, would be $15,000 it's a local company that does Nundas, for them to do all of that, a lot of programming to pull all of that information right from our software, the PAMS program, into it. I did ask a couple of years ago when I was looking at doing this, I asked at XCal, and they were I think at that time, I think it was $10,000, and it was similar with XCal. So XCal could do this. I just would be more comfortable with having somebody local that we're having issues and that aren't usually, getting hurricanes and delaying things or whatever. He does a fine job. It's just, they know what to do. They're familiar with the PAM system. They're familiar with how to set this up. And if we can do that, it would be better it would be less time on my staff having to send the property record cards or the sketches, and more user-friendly for taxpayers.
So just to confirm, the $15,000 cost is the implementation for the new software and this local company that will administrate it, or is that is that a one-time fee? Is there any sort of ongoing cost?
So the $15,000 he said was an estimate because that would be the basic information, the photograph, sketch, and comparables. Like if you clicked on and you said, what homes would be comparable to mine? He said they don't have to do all of that at one time, but if they have to go back in, it's programming and coding, so it would be more. So if you do it all at once, it would be that. But my understanding, there wouldn't be any reason unless we were having a problem to have them come in and look at something, but that we would be pretty much live data. So, whatever we change, it would be showing up in the website.
And you're paying XCal to update that every year?
Correct.
So
Twice.
So
Yeah.
would you save money in that respect in the long run?
Well, we pay XCal through the whole township.
Part of the
thing.
contract.
But those, I think it's about $500 or $600
Something like that.
twice a year. So it's another $1,200.
But this 15,000, that is the cost, because it's a different software platform, it sounds like, right? Or is it just recoding the software to look like none does?
It's recoding to pull, so what happens is this was set up 12 years ago or
Yeah.
something like that. We have to send them, we download it to send it to XCal from our program. This would be set up, pulling it automatically to the website from our software.
But
that
then
we have.
to your point, the look and feel to a resident is better as well, in addition to the automatic data pulls.
Correct.
So it sounds like they're putting
It's
the
an
front end
on-demand.
on,
Right.
they're putting the front end on the data.
The
we
local
already have.
company is doing that. So that's my
Correct.
question, is like,
Yeah.
is there any sort of ongoing, is there a new software that they're using that will be an ongoing cost that we're,
They're using the PAM software that she's already got.
okay.
I'm not a computer person. My understanding is it's just programming, because
Okay.
we use PAMs. All of that information comes from what we put in,
Yeah.
so it's pulled out into the website.
It's just connecting PAM.
So with you guys then technically being in charge of the data,
Correct.
will you put any additional checks or balances into place as part of that to make sure that the data is not made incorrect somehow? So that is to say, like I deal a lot with this at work. We have to have special security clearance for people to be able to go in and make changes to the data so that we have data integrity. Before, if we gave the batch file to XCal and they uploaded it, none of your people could actually go in and change something. So I guess my question is, are we losing any safety of the integrity of the data that the system has by your team being able to update it with your program live time? Just might be something, it's not really budget related, just something, just food for thought.
Yeah, no, I guess I could tell you that sometimes we make mistakes when we're entering things, but if we catch it and we find it, we can correct it. We don't have to wait until somebody else, till 6 months later when we can send the information again.
Makes sense.
And there's only the valuations are only changed by the deputy assessors, and the sale information is put in by administration. They get the sale, they record it. Again, if there's any mistakes, even when we're in the system now, when we find something that's incorrect, we change it. It just doesn't show up on here.
Yeah, okay. I don't have any other questions on that. I do have a question on, back on the first page of your budget, the salaries. So obviously, the assessor salary, elected official, your position, we know obviously that amount is going up. The 2024-2025 spend was $276,500 for your regular salaries.
We still
We
have 2
budgeted-
months to go.
Yeah, we budgeted $344,000. The 7 full-time, 1 part-time, is that the same as what your positions are now? Are you planning any other changes to your team?
Actually, it's only 6 full-time right now, because I lost
You lost
2, brought 1 back. So
Right.
we're 6 full-time, 1 part-time right
All
now.
right, so you're looking to backfill someone, but you're not adding any positions or headcount?
No, not at this point, no.
All right. I don't have any other questions.
I don't have any more questions on what's been proposed.
So should we vote on Mary's budget? Do we have to vote on, say, like,
No, if you guys are good with the questions, you can just continue to go.
Yeah, we can move on to
You're okay with it, there's no changes?
Yeah, there's
When
no
we're all
change.
done, we can go
give it,
over all that.
yeah. So,
Everybody else can move on to.
which one would you like to start with, PH&R or GRB?
small one, or?
Are you, Gary, are you guys all done?
We're done with
We're
you,
done.
yeah.
Thank you so much for letting me.
I'm sorry about that, the way that sounded, we're done with you.
Nope, we're done with
It's okay.
Nope, we're finished. Let me
It's
try
okay.
that one.
On to the next meeting.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Let me start with permanent hard road.
Okay,
I handed out some new things tonight, or some new documents tonight. The changes are just an update of the current year's expenses, which is the second from the right column. It's just the report that Debbie passed out.
Yep.
We're just updating that. The second part was an update on what I anticipate will be cash reserves at the end of the year. Just based on the money that we spent the last month and 2 months to go, et cetera. And then there was one more change on the road repair and construction. There was if you saw previous ones, there was a breakdown of where we're spending our money there, and one of them was reclamite. It's a pavement treatment. And I had it to be upgraded to $135,000 because what happens in the life of a pavement, you treat it twice over the 20-year cycle of the pavement. Once the year after we pave is what we've been doing, and then once about 7 years later. And we're getting into that second cycle. So that's why you see a jump from $70,000 to $135,000 is because we're getting into those roads that are going to be treated the second time. Other than that, there aren't any other changes to the permanent hard road from what you've had and what you've seen previously. And we get to the end of the year with a balance of a couple $100,000 to get us through the first couple of months prior to receiving taxes. So, and I'm glad to answer any questions.
And it may be intertwined with our budget, but I recall that prior to the board voting to increase the elected official salaries, your salary was paid for out of the town fund, is that correct?
Yes.
Is one of the is the salaries bucket here?
That'd be GRB.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which we'll cover that when we get to that.
I don't have any questions on that.
I have a non-budget question. It's kind of like this. The pavement that we have in the parking lot, like this big parking lot here, I don't know, in your opinion versus my opinion, it looks to be in fairly good shape. Is there any advantage to treating it versus, do you treat it with reclamite or do you use the old seal coat?
You treated it with reclamite
Oh, we
several
did.
years ago, and we should look back at what that record was and when it was done, and you'll want to do it 6 or 7 years later.
Okay.
All you're doing is stretching out the life of the cycle of it. When I did the numbers 5 years or 7 years ago, when we first started doing it, and what it did was that it added 5 to 7 years of life on your pavement, and the cost over the life cycle was about a year of pavement. So it was obvious that you treat it, and if you want an explanation, I'll tell you why we do that now when we never used to have to do it, but it has to do with the refining of oil, and they're so much better at refining oil, so that cars don't have certain products that used to be in there are now removed because they're so good at refining. So,
Okay, that answered my question. I'll talk to Eric. Thank you.
so that's permanent
I don't
hard,
know.
unless anybody has any questions. Switching to general road and bridge, again, the changes from what you've seen previously are the updates of what we spent through the end of January, which is the latest report that you received. And also updating our estimate of funds that we anticipate having at the beginning of the year. those funds I'd point out, the 424 doesn't include the 130,000 that we have that we've been putting aside for 100,000 for a truck that we're purchasing this coming year, and 30,000 that we're trying to build up for our bridge fund over the next, 20 years, let's say. But we throw $10,000 a year in there. So when we get to a point where we have to fix one of our 2 bridges, we have the ability to do that without begging the state or the federal government, or closing them down.
So this capital outlay snowplow is really covered with your reserves, just not documented?
The new snowplow is approximately $30,000. $100,000 is covered with funds that we put aside already from last year. So there's another, it's under 200, 300,000, but but it is covered with 100,000 of it. A third of it is covered from last year's budget, basically.
So then back to my question, so highway commissioner salaries listed at 56,889, so is that half, are we still paying half from the town fund?
Yes.
Yes.
I thought it was all gonna transition to the,
No,
No.
state statute says the most that the road district can pay is half.
gotcha, that makes
I
sense.
personally think we should pay the whole thing, but Mark and I arm wrestled and he won. I'm not surprised by that, he's a Marine.
Don't forget it.
Trust me, I won't. I'm very appreciative.
Yeah, that's one of those things that the state does. I don't have any other questions regarding this budget.
All right, we're done.
One last question, so 2024, 2025 budget, we had 125,000 for engineering and surveying service.
Yes.
Are we getting rid of that because we now have you full-time?
That and part of the budget was this year we do not have, we don't anticipate, we haven't received a CDBG grant that we would have used some of that money for this.
Gotcha.
And also, we don't have things, we don't have the MFT funds that we've had in the past, or the county funds for non-dedicated roads, that our portion was covered, we would cover the engineering for it, and they would give us the additional funds. So that's why you see that coming down. The county has eliminated those programs. We went from 30-some miles of road down to 5 miles of road, and now we just have to figure out how to get the other 5 done.
So, has everybody's MFT gone down or just ours?
Oh, no, not MFT. What I'm referring to is funding from the county for non-dedicated subdivision roads.
Okay.
They've completely eliminated that program this year, as of this year. And our contribution, we would do the engineering for it, or contribute to the engineering.
I don't have any other questions.
Any other questions?
So the non-dedicated roads was a separate program from CDBG?
CDBG, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a great
CDBG, and actually that's the other part, there's 2 factors there. CDBG, we did not get awarded a grant this past cycle.
Yeah.
We are currently in again, and we may get an approval for that. But a lot of that work we did as part of the last cycle, so that I can just do the engineering and save that money, so.
Yeah, that's a pattern happening with the county. They're cutting everything back. They flow through, I'll call it flow through, where we were able to go get grants, they're cutting back. That's what happened to us on the bus program, is they put everybody else ahead of us, because we have the opportunity to levy. Buses, I'm talking buses.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
about the road commissioner side and what they said to that, but. I don't have any more questions on that. If there are no more questions,
Be gone.
you're on your own. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming in. So
Let's do
this
the-
sheet here, that,
Yeah.
when you talk about town, that includes what we talked about with the excessive. That's all rolled in, so that everybody understands that.
Yeah, if you understand the cover sheet, it's got everything in there, broken down for your expenses for, parks, senior express, assessors, and GA. Is there any questions on that cover sheet?
Obviously, it looks like the increase in salaries slightly depletes our reserves.
Slightly, but it also, yeah, slightly.
Just in GA,
Yeah, not by much,
yeah.
which surprisingly is good, which means we did really good keeping our belts tight. So I'm happy with that. We're not really losing ground,
Yeah.
but we could have gained more ground if you guys didn't take increases. It was just a joke. Anyways, if you guys don't have questions on that first page, I suggest we do parks first, so that Eric can.
Does he have to plow in the morning?
He
Not
may
till like
have
7 or 8.
Heck,
Wait, not till Thursday.
to. Is that Thursday?
It's Thursday morning, so you get to sleep in tomorrow?
Yeah. Well, then we can make him sit through all of it.
I mean, I don't care if you start wherever you
Parks
want.
is fine. Let's start.
All right, so these are updated from what you had that I emailed you. We now have what we've actually spent, what was budgeted, and what we're proposing. So those are your last 3 columns. That was my mistake. I had done it and not saved it. So when I sent it to you, it didn't have the budgeted column in. We really didn't make any changes. We did some increases on the fuel. There was increases in risk management. And then you'll see there's an increase in the salaries. That's, we put Eric totally into here and took him out of admin. So he's totally in,
Parks and Oxford, yeah.
And everything that comes with that, so then health insurance, HRA,
yeah, that's
got
the
it.
increase. So he used to be a split, 50-50, now he's all in parks. He does have 1 capital outlay, or actually 2. New chairs for the town hall. We have some chairs that need to be replaced. And then on the athletic fields, we have dugout and fence repairs that need to be done. And 24 should cover it all, no problem.
Third year is the charm. He's been after me for 3 years to fix the dugout, so I figured.
We're missing the,
It's probably time
where's the
to-
blower at?
Floors in there, in capital outlay. isn't it?
Yeah, and then if you go to the last
Okay.
page, under equipment
Yeah,
vehicle,
sorry.
we have the blower. So everything is in there.
pretty significant cost decrease in ball field maintenance supplies and ground maintenance supplies. Did we change something there to save that $7,000?
Between the two, yeah, we just took it down to, I took it down to an even 10,000 on both.
Because we spent more than, I mean, well, I guess we didn't really, yeah, we didn't really.
Yeah, we
spend it.
really didn't, yeah, and he's been,
But no, we've been
Shopping
pretty good down
around.
there, so.
Awesome. I don't have any questions on that.
no questions?
I will say, just for the record, from a couple of the groups that I am in that I participate in that use township property for meetings. It has been said that people very much more so enjoy the chairs in the building over by the food pantry than they do the chairs in this building. So,
Those white chairs down
They're
there?
white solid chairs compared to
Yeah.
these ones, correct?
They're already solid chairs, yeah.
Yeah.
These are not comfortable.
These are not comfortable.
so for what it's worth, if cost is similar, like people love those, they don't like these. Every,
So what is it, we have over 200 chairs up here?
In here,
What
I
was
have
the
the same,
replacement?
I have the same chairs over at Whispering Hills,
Yeah.
so there's another 85 over there.
We
Okay,
didn't, we
so
did
what-
not put that in here.
So Monday, let's come back and look.
Well, I mean, I figured between the both, we just pull out, I mean, there's not 200 chairs broken between here and there. There's probably 60.
But if I'm hearing it correctly, and everybody is in agreement that the white chairs are more comfortable,
they are.
We can
what we
price it
should
out.
do is rotate the chairs
That are good here.
that are
put
good
them
here,
over
put them
there.
in Whispering Hills, and then
Correct.
start upgrading to the white chairs.
I have a whole shed full of white chairs.
Oh, do you?
Good. Do you have 200?
Probably 130 of them.
Let's take a look
And
at it,
then if we only have to get 70 of them, that's pretty
Yeah.
darn good.
Yeah.
Okay.
or whatever the budget.
I mean, it's been kind of like, we give them Moose Lodge, or if somebody rents them out, or what have you, those ones go for the rentals. But yeah, I feel the same way. I'm on the same way. These things
Okay,
break
we're
all the
talking
time. So,
I can't tell you how many meetings I've been in
They're
here where
broken.
someone's sitting in a chair and they're just, like, literally,
Yeah,
just in the middle of the meeting, they just
I
drop.
hear ya.
So the only other question I have is the racks that the chairs go on in the rooms. Will the white ones fit on
I'll
there?
take one and we'll try it out.
Okay. And I know there's some guys who know how to weld around here, so that's not really a big issue.
I mean, we just made those.
Yeah,
So hopefully they fit.
He can make his own racks.
I'll buy him a pizza.
There you go. All right, any other questions for the Parks Department?
No, good job saving money where you can.
Yeah, I mean, just in light of that, we did do like the playground demolition and some other bigger items from last year. The park department did do save us a good chunk of money as a group for us, so. We do what we can.
Yeah, kind of to go along with that is we were going to try to finish the playground this year.
Yeah.
Get the stuff where wheelchairs can roll on the other ADA on the other half and get that equipment into place. And he's working on trying to grind the company on a little more discount and then also figuring out what we can do internally to help save money.
Yeah. I took my daughters to this park up in Kenosha. It's called the Dream Playground. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's huge. It's probably the biggest park playground I've ever seen. But what's interesting there is there's like one entrance to go into it, and once you go through that entrance, like that's the only way you can get out. There's fence all around it, so like you don't have to worry about kids running away. But the floor of all of it is that like rubber, spongy flooring. And they have 2 or 3 entire sections that are dedicated to people with disabilities, different swings, equipment, and there were lines of people waiting to use it. It was
There's
very
not a lot
busy.
of that out
Yeah, and
there.
that's my hope to bring it out here, is that we'll get some
We'll be about the
opportunity.
only one.
Yeah,
So we'll get
so
some opportunity for that.
There's one
is-
solo.
I know we specifically like worked to get stuff in the budget for the last round of equipment. Would we need to do that within Eric's budget, or would that just be part of the regular?
It's in there.
In the 24,000?
Yeah, it's not spelled out as equipment, it's
Well,
in there.
No,
Isn't it?
Not in the
No.
24K.
not
Well, I
the
thought-
24. I did not put anything for park equipment in this budget. There's nothing in this budget for that.
So we were talking, I thought there was, I apologize.
No, we did not.
So how do we finish that this year then?
With the budget we have.
We're gonna take it out of the last
We're gonna
year's
take it
budget.
out of this budget.
So it's in this year's budget?
Correct.
That's where we budgeted all the money.
That's what I'm saying, it's in the town fund, it's not in Eric's specific.
no,
budget.
It's in 2024.
It's in
Yeah.
the prior
2025.
one. So if you look over, we budgeted in the parks or in the town fund.
That's what, yeah, so.
Yeah, it
so
was
it's
in
not-
the town capital
Okay.
outlay.
Yeah.
And that's where we've been
You knew we
paying
had
it out
Yeah,
of.
we'll get to it then.
Yeah, I
So-
knew we had the money.
We have budgeted 210,
Yeah, we only spent,
85 already.
we could buy an entire additional set of playground equipment
Right.
almost for that.
We're gonna eat turf.
We're at 107, but the 107 also,
Yeah.
that's other contingencies that are in there.
The other thing, like maybe just to just put it out there, because I will tell you, they love it, and the one that is in Mchenry is not big enough for the amount of people that use it. Something maybe to consider in the future would be like a splash pad. There's lines of people waiting to use the one in Mchenry. If you've seen it, it's like, it's not big enough for the number of people that are going there. That would also set
Right.
us apart.
Sure.
You are absolutely correct. Splash pads are huge.
What's a splash pad?
It's literally just
Sprinklers.
a somewhat curved concrete like patio, big patio with drains in various spots and just little sprinklers
Water
like
features.
shooting up water features.
You get what?
So like kids couldn't drown or something. It's like
Let's just
in
pirate
place of the
bucket
pool.
dump
So
it
they
on
can
here.
just play and keep cool?
Yep.
Is that what,
We can build a pirate bucket.
And they have a blast. My kids are dead tired. We leave that place with them and they're falling asleep before we even get to the
Oh
car.
gosh, yes.
What do those cost? $500,000?
I have no idea. That's why I'm
Probably.
putting it out there.
A little more.
A little bit,
Yeah.
7?
Yeah.
About 700,000?
Just some concrete and pipes.
Pipes.
Well, yeah, but it's gotta be built by the union.
Well, wait, the engineer left already. We don't need any engineering.
Yeah.
alright.
But you guys will hear more about it at the annual meeting about things that I'm looking forward to, but things that you're right in line with it is what are the prioritizations going to be? Is it gonna be splash pads? Because you know the one right behind that, pickleball.
Pickleball.
So, the other place is where do we put all of that? Where do we park everybody? Because we're already at a parking
Yes.
disadvantage on weekends with baseball and stuff.
Even during the day, I mean,
Yeah.
at the senior center, when I come in here, you gotta go pretty far down to
Yeah.
find an open spot.
Correct.
When they're doing bingo or, typical afternoon.
So, in my mind too is, and this, I'll just throw this one out there, is a foundation versus taxes. Why not create a parks foundation for Mchenry Township? Use private money versus public money. So that's something I'm looking at too also.
And grants.
Well, grants, continue to look for grants, yeah. There's that R1 organization over at the county that we have access to through McCog that I need to get more involved with. So, yeah. I don't have anything else regarding the budget. So,
What kind of
Budget was a whole other
liability
area.
insurance do we have to have if we have a splash pad? Would be something else that would be,
we can ask Torma
Yeah.
what that cost increase would be.
For sure. We're not there. We don't have that kind of money, guys.
Yeah, it can't be any worse than
Just
roads.
gonna say that.
Yeah.
We don't have that kind of money.
Yeah.
I don't know where you're pulling that out of the budget yet.
No, I just put it out there like,
No, it's planning.
It is, you'd have to plan for it.
yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with making a 4-year, 5-year plan at all, even a 10-year.
So,
There are
do you have
grants.
arrangements with the corrections to get the prisoners out?
I do have a call into them. It switched over hands.
Okay.
They haven't called us back yet.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Put my name's in
And
there,
that's
so.
a
Yeah.
great,
what is it?
you can get prisoners to come help do labor. for
So
the-
we have the
Correct.
shelters that are prepped for paint. So as soon as spring breaks loose, we're gonna go buy some paint or Home Depot's gonna donate it.
I'm not
And we're
doing
gonna
any
paint.
painting.
You're not a prisoner.
You do it.
Yet.
There you go.
Yet.
Oh, you release.
Not convicted.
So what do we need to do?
All right, if we're done with Eric, then we're gonna move on, and Eric, you're
Thanks,
ready to
Eric.
go.
Okay. You guys know where to find me if you guys have any questions.
So you're gonna go through administration?
I would assume we'll start with administration. Well, do you guys wanna go over the revenue page or no? Sure. All right, let's start with the revenue page then. You had no questions on the cover sheet, correct?
No.
All right. The revenue page, this is just what we're supposed to get and the numbers that I'm using. I know we budgeted 40 for Illinois replacement tax. We didn't get that much in. So I lowered it down to 30, thinking we'll get some more in yet, but I don't know that we're gonna get 10,000 more in.
Can you just confirm what Illinois replacement tax is?
It is the, what used to be the
Used to be-
personal property
In
tax.
1979, PPRT went away, and the townships and another form of government got excluded from this revenue stream. What happened is they voted back in this replacement tax at a smaller percentage because the zero was too big for everybody to pay. So it happened back in the late 70s, early 80s.
So, but where does that come from? Like property tax is paid into?
Comes from local taxes.
Just like local sales taxes, like.
Yeah, I didn't get that far on the revenue side of it. I was researching the why it happened side.
I think it comes from state sales tax.
Gotcha.
Well, actually, it's just a replacement tax.
It's a state.
It's on the note you took.
Yeah. So it's not coming from property taxes, because those are all independently.
No, it's not
No.
coming from property tax.
It used to be a personal.
It's a tax on business. And it's a percentage of their net income is what it is. It's an income-based tax.
Gotcha.
I can't remember the.
I'm
But
Googling it now.
And there's only certain types of businesses
It
that pay
replaces
it.
money lost by local governments when their power to impose personal property tax was taken away.
Correct. And it's like, it's based on, if you read that, go back up to the top. It was 2.5%.
A replacement tax on their
But we don't
net
get the whole
Illinois
2.5%.
income. It's on the net Illinois income.
Yeah. There we go.
Let's see here, security rental, that's that in and out one, that really doesn't, it's not money coming in or going out, so it's kind of it just depends upon how many people we need security for the town hall or any of the buildings that are serving alcohol. Athletic fees, we're not there yet, but we're gonna be close to the 8,000 because all the billing has not come in yet and the spring billing has not gone out yet.
We also traded some tournament fees for 2 hydraulic pitcher's mounts.
Correct.
So it'll come in a little bit short.
It'll come up a little short, but we kept it at 8,000 because it should go back. The food pantry is still at 12,000. We'll get the full amount. We kept it there. Town hall rental, we have brought in 21. We had budgeted 15. I increased it to 18. That's another one you just don't know. We're getting more rentals for the senior center in Whispering Hills because it's a lesser amount. So I just kept it at 18.
It might be more of a topic for a regular meeting, but just offhand, what are we seeing people renting the facilities for? Like
Everything
just
under the sun.
anything?
Yeah, it can be from a birthday party to a shower to a family luncheon.
Celebration of life.
Yep, celebration of life.
This gets rented, the majority of it gets rented for quinceañeras.
Yeah, I've seen a lot.
Big
Seen that
parties,
at
yeah.
the bar.
This is
Our fees are
weddings.
still compatible with everyone else.
Yes.
correct?
they're-
Right.
Yeah, we went through and did that check a while ago.
Probably on the low end, right?
Not really.
Really?
No, we're right in line with everybody else.
Where we're probably more competitive is deposits, meaning you're not tying up all that cash.
Yeah.
If you go to
That is true.
Smith's Garage, you're gonna have a lot bigger deposit than you do here.
Yeah.
The rec hall, same thing. We're at 17 right now. We increased it to 2,000 because we're seeing more of that getting rented out. As the word gets out, that is becoming more available. Whispering Hills, same thing. Senior bus fares, I went to 5,000, we're at 46 now, we should get there with no problem. The voucher books, we're not selling as many as we used to. I don't know why.
And the voucher books are, people can buy the
They can
vouchers
buy,
to give
yeah, they
dollars.
get 10 passes, or they get 11 passes for the price of 10,
It's for the bus service?
yeah. So
we
usually the ones that
want-
use it are just the people with disabilities, their family will purchase them, and then whenever they ride, we just take the.
We keep the coupon book here, we just peel a coupon out of it.
Yeah.
Every time that
Yeah.
person rides.
So, like,
There are some that just buy them outright.
I was gonna say, just dumb question, just like strategic question.
Absolutely.
Would we rather have the money up front like that and try to incentivize more people to buy them by maybe giving a better break on the ticket prices?
Doesn't really,
The people who are buying the books want to pay something. The bus program is free, technically.
Yeah.
it's a
So
donation.
if, you know, I understand what you're trying to say is if we want to get more, instead of $1 per ticket, do you do 75 cents and it creates a little bit of a revenue stream? Would there be more people that would?
Could we get more people to donate more rides to take up some of the slack from like losing the bus grant?
Well, and I don't know that you will, because you're gonna still have the same amount of seniors, same amount of,
That's true.
they're gonna do it either way. You know, and if they can afford it, they pay, if they can't, they don't.
Yeah.
That's probably my idea of the foundation is twofold, park improvements and, but my first one is buses. That really is, where can we replace that
That's
grant
exactly
money is my, he hates it when I walk in here and keep bouncing ideas off of her about where I can find money.
Well, like, I mean, okay, let's talk about this too. This, again, maybe not the appropriate forum, but we found out that the school's not helping sailors get from Great Lakes out here for Thanksgiving. Or for,
What?
yeah.
So my understanding in talking to some people is that the school district used to provide a couple buses.
Correct.
Well, they're not providing them anymore because of quote liability reasons. So our buses are not 71 passenger buses.
Nope.
So it's hard to go out and, so now I would certainly join with the Moose to raise money, but from a taxpayer's perspective, we'll do whatever we can to support that program, but to outright write a check to rent a bus, I don't think that's the smartest use of our money.
Yeah.
Oh, but I'm saying like the foundation.
Well, exactly, that's why I want to create it, is gives us a little more leeway to spend some money.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything.
Because there's a lot we could do that the public would
But
like
that,
probably
all you
rally
need to do is
behind.
get the word out
but-
on that one, and that'll change.
Yeah.
Well, that,
And it may not change coming from the school, but you'll find another avenue to get that to happen.
Yeah.
People are way too,
so here's another one, I threw it out on the wall the other day. Many years ago, prior to the new ownership at the hospital of Northwestern, they used to run their own bus service. So now what I want to do is reach into Northwestern's philanthropic side and see if they'll give us some money to run buses. They're benefiting from our bus service.
Yeah, well, they can't even handle patient care there appropriately, so I don't know if you're gonna get very far.
I was there last night.
Personally, yeah, you know, you guys know my situation. The care there delayed things about a week and a half that probably could have
Wow.
made a big difference, and so we will be.
Hence, I didn't get anything done there myself, so. But that's
Anyway.
beside the point.
Anyway.
all right, let's
We
move
move
on. Yes, let's move on. We all know healthcare is horrible.
It's broken.
Yes, it's broken. Let's move on. So interest income, we're definitely, I moved it up. We are getting more bang for our buck finally. It's been a while. And then,
What are we selling?
we're selling something.
Sale of equipment.
What are we selling? You guys haven't put that in there. You wanted to sell something.
There's some old mowers we sold.
Just some old park equipment you
We're
want to get
replacing
rid
some
of.
park equipment, we're gonna sell the old mowers.
And then other revenue, I just throw $100 in there because I don't know what we might get money
All right.
for. All right, so now we can move on to administration unless you guys have questions on revenues? No?
Kinda, it is what it is, right?
It kind of is, and I always go lower. I'd rather have less money and then we get more. That's just like icing on the cake.
Yeah, bonus.
I don't want to overestimate revenues coming in, but I don't want to be so far off that we don't know what we're doing.
Is that because you want the expenses to go up to that overestimation of revenues?
Absolutely
Thank
not.
you.
Absolutely
Hey,
not.
we
I
do more
like a
for less,
balanced
Gary.
budget.
Yeah,
I'm still not at a balanced budget, but I like it.
we're getting close.
We're
It's
getting
almost there.
closer. That day will come. All right, so,
Man, the elected salaries there went up.
yeah, the salaries did go up.
So Gary,
But now we also have all elected officials in ours, including half the,
well, the commission, yeah, he's.
right, which is separated. But we have now the increase for the supervisor, the clerk, all the trustees, that's all included in there.
Yeah.
So yes, it did go up.
So Gary, are you officially going full-time now, upon your election?
After May 19th, yeah, if I get elected.
Nobody challenging you, it would take a lot to.
There are no guarantees in the elected world.
The only way you could lose if nobody voted for you, including yourself.
Yeah, if you don't vote for yourself, you're in big trouble.
Having those conversations lately.
Don't forget to vote for myself.
Yeah. No, I hear you. No, that's the, yeah, we'll talk later on.
Does that include the $100 per trustee per meeting in that one too? Okay.
Yes, it includes everything. It
thought it was
includes
1,000.
all the increases.
Yeah, I thought it was 1,000. There's an extra zero missing.
Yeah, no,
It's $100 per meeting.
per meeting,
So if we have two
right.
meetings in one night, it's $200.
It's per diem.
Oh, it's per diem? Oh,
It is
okay.
per diem, so you could have multiple meetings in one night. I planned that well.
Good try.
So we need to space them out now. I'm kind of actually surprised to see the proposed budget for support salaries. That's like everybody else, right?
Yes.
It's going down from our budget last year.
Oh, well, that's because we took half of Eric out and put it into parks.
That's right, okay. Did we talk about raises at last year's budget session, during the budget session, or did we talk about salaries and raises for people at a different time? I don't recall. Like not elected officials, like merit.
The support staff,
Yeah, merit increases,
The-
annual reviews, et cetera.
the support staff.
Yeah,
There is an overall increase on this budget, up to 5%, but it is a variable 5, is what we talked about.
yeah.
And so that will be pooled however we decide it should go. However he decides it should go.
Yeah, all right.
I like how I say we. I have any say in it.
No, 5% is
You are a
fair.
supervisor.
Oh, true.
And 5% is fair. I mean, it's like private sector, that's what we could potentially. do.
Yeah, that's what we pooled.
Where do you work?
3.5% is mine.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where do you work?
And I got tripled at teams. I got 6 new direct reports. So here you go. Here's your.
Don't you just love it?
My boss.
All right.
Yeah, I've heard.
Real stubborn Marine, I hear.
Other than that, that's pretty much what it is.
So that 99.5 is at the 60% number, right? For,
No, that's the overall health insurance.
I mean, so HRA support, that 19,000 is at the 60%.
That's the
number.
60%, yes.
And that would be the same for that one.
Correct.
Okay, so that's the full boat amount. If it's not used, there's a little bit of a savings there.
That's not the full vote amount.
I thought it was.
It's only 60% of what could be actually done. We've never exceeded, so we reduced it to 60. If you want me to put the full
That was last
that we were liable for,
Okay, I remember.
I can go back and put in the full.
I was operating off of last year's. We reduced it.
We reduced it
Yeah, I
because it's
remember.
never gone over.
Yeah.
So we've reduced it. There is 100% liability, but we've never met it. Everybody would have to meet their full deductible on their health insurance in order for the health reimbursement to kick in. It just doesn't happen.
Hopefully.
I mean, I never did for 23 years.
I guess I'm saying it a different way. It's 60% we're responsible for.
No, we're responsible for 100%, but we're
After-
only budgeting 60% of what is possible.
Because in
But
general,
it's
we don't
tiered.
come anywhere near spending that.
It's not tiered.
It's not tiered. See, I don't have insurance, so I
No, it's not tiered.
don't. Okay.
No, our HRA, everybody gets their contribution.
Correct.
Maximum, and
Right,
Oh, no, I'm thinking something else. Okay.
right, you're thinking something different. No, this is.
This is the
not-
HR, health
this is the
reimbursement account.
Right.
I'd like to find a health savings account.
can't actually have a health savings account unless you specifically have a high deductible insurance plan, which would not be compatible with an HRA. So that automatically means that your insurance is not compatible with an HSA. And any contributions would be considered an excess contribution, and you'd owe tax on it.
So the employees can't even start an HSA?
Not unless you have a high deductible health plan.
No.
Our deductible's 13.5.
So that's technically,
That's
that in and
low.
of itself doesn't define an HDHP, but like an HSA compatible health plan, like you wouldn't have copays. You would just pay the doctor whatever the negotiated rate is. You'd get like, you know, to go to the doctor, instead of $20, you'd end up paying like 70, 80, whatever it is.
Oh.
And then once you reach your deductible, then it starts paying for things.
I
So
think we should look into that because I don't think we have copays either.
they bank, HSAs and high deductible health plans bank on people that are not going to use their insurance a lot. So for someone who like never goes to the doctor,
That's probably why. we
yeah,
can't
for
get
someone who
this.
never goes to the doctor and doesn't really take like daily medications and just might go for like yearly physicals, an HSA and a high deductible health plan are great because the premiums are lower for the person and the business. They get money in an account that can grow, that they can use. But for someone that goes to the doctor, like sort of in the middle area, like not a lot, but not a little, those people end up spending more money because you don't ever spend enough to hit your full deductible where things start to get covered. And you're
Right.
paying a probably, you know, it's tough. It saves the business money, but a lot of times the people end up coming out of pocket more.
No, that's all the stuff to look at in June,
Yeah.
or May. Think in May. All right, we'll move on. I really didn't do too much of an increase. The risk management, I increased by 5%. That always tends to go up. That's our TORMA in our EAP. And then, I'm looking to see here. We did increase travel because we have new board members and stuff going places. Then, postage, we did increase because there is an increase there.
What happened to the township newsletter? Got
The
axed.
online version,
Got axed.
No, it's
Budget
still,
got axed.
I didn't put it in there.
No, I'm saying we had it budgeted for last year.
Do you
But
want me
it's
to put
not.
it back in there?
I mean, we've talked about it, we've never actually done it, but
we don't
Well,
have anybody to do it, that's part of it.
that's the problem, we don't, and,
yeah.
you know, maybe once, we'll
Have
see.
you ever written an article with AI?
Yeah,
That's amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah, AI.
it is.
Faster than you can read it, it's written.
Yeah, you just give it the subject line, yes. You wanna do the newsletter?
No, I don't have time.
Me
You wanna
neither.
take my class on Wednesday?
Your boss is asleep.
I would love to if I could find the time.
No, I'm trying to figure out how you would do that. If you have specific activities that are associated with the township, how would AI know what we did? And what to
You would
promote?
have to tell
You can
them.
give it the prompts. And
You have to
it'll
give it the prompts and then
embellish.
it'll put it, yeah, it embellishes
It
it.
wrote an article about my class and the benefits of my class.
But you wrote an article
I'll show
first,
you.
then ran it through.
No, you just give it the prompts.
No.
Harmonic
I'll show you
for
exactly
how.
what I did, and it took seconds, and it's going for the Torma magazine.
I'd love to see it.
It's conversational too. Like I use it at work for Excel like formulas, and I'll say like I need a formula to do X, Y, Z, and it'll be like here, try this. And if I put that in and it doesn't work, and just one part of it doesn't work, you literally go back into the Chat GPT and say, this part didn't work. Give me, do you have another solution that'll do this? And it will just keep updating. It's nuts. It's nuts.
Saves a lot of
We're being
time.
put out of a job.
Well, that
Sit
was,
down and figure
that
it
was the
out.
You could
conversation.
ask it.
Logical thinking will give you that
That was the
formula.
conversation today at one of the world forums that the vice president was speaking at, that ultimately will put everybody out of a job.
No, because you need to be smart enough to know what to tell it to give you the information out. It
That is a
doesn't
true
know.
statement.
It doesn't know what you're trying to accomplish.
Till they teach you how to think on its own.
It's coming. It's coming.
Torma wanted an article from me, and I don't know if it's for the Torma magazine or the Perspectives. So I'll show you
Yeah, I'll take
what I
it.
did.
I would
what-
love to see that.
And, yeah.
All right, so
It's on the list.
So the accounting I left as is, we still have a bill coming in for our end of year closeout. Legal services, we still have our end of year stuff. He'll be doing the, budget and appropriation hearings, that kind of stuff. We've only had a few bills, so we've been good with that.
Yeah, we should reduce that by $60,000, $80,000.
Dues and subscriptions we increased, so we can cover all the stuff that we're using it for. So like we weren't in everything for a while, so Gary's now getting back into all that. Training, we increased just based on the number of people. Data processing, we're keeping the same. Consulting is the same, office supplies the same. Everything else is pretty much the same.
There's money here for furniture too, if you guys need to buy more chairs, right?
Pardon me?
So there's money in the furniture, equipment, and software bucket too, if you guys need more money for chairs.
For the town hall? Absolutely not. That is for laptops,
My money.
What's it for?
monitors, scan snaps, that kind of stuff, printers. We've been very fortunate this year. We haven't had too much go down, so, a new desk would be nice.
Copiers are held together with baling wire and bubble gum. They're gonna need to be updated very shortly, so.
I've heard that
That's
going
when we
to
get to
a
capital.
lease model for those instead of a purchase model is probably more financially
We'll have to look into that.
beneficial, just because you get newer equipment more often.
Say that one more time.
Basically, they take the price of the copier and they divide it out like finance program.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. So you're
Yeah.
paying the same, you're just paying interest instead of paying a check up front. So that's how they,
Maybe, but it also gives you the ability to upgrade before you've technically paid off.
the copier.
If it has any residual value, it's just like a lease on a car.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, we paid $5,000 for what we have now, we've had them for over 10 years.
Yeah.
They'll probably last another 5 years. So,
You can't shove a watermelon through a garden hose.
you could put.
The computers are trying to
Put a
put
square into the-
computers are trying to put more data into that copier, and you stand there and listen to it go kerchunk, 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 kerchunk.
It's gonna start smoking one day.
Yeah. That's
Ours is pretty fast. I forget how many words, or how many pages a minute it does in black and white.
Trust me, they got new ones that'll do
We
twice as
don't use
much.
it enough that if we were printing stuff all the time, it'd be
Yeah.
different. But we're paperless,
We might be printing
trying to be paperless.
we might be printing newsletters, I don't know.
No, that should be online. We're not doing, come on, guys. You were having way too much fun with me today.
E-blasts and,
Well,
was
shouldn't
it
we just do
survey,
like
or
an
was it
online
survey
where we
chimp or
put it
whatever?
on-
Survey Monkey.
Survey monkey.
I think you just throw it on our website and then they can click on our newsletter and that would be awesome.
You need to tell them it's out there. So we need to have some sort of mechanism to reach out, let them know it's
We have a
there.
marquee out there we're gonna have to replace.
That is, I've been talking to,
Yeah,
the
you were
village
getting-
about their ordinance.
Saying, weren't you getting
Why do
parts
we
for
have to
that
talk
from
to
like
the
another
village
local
about their
business?
ordinance?
Pardon me?
What about the village ordinance?
They have a sign ordinance, it's 52 pages, and part of that is when you replace that sign, you can't replace more than 50%, or you got, it's, trust me, I haven't even dove in yet.
We're just gonna fix the one we got.
Correct, the fans that we currently have are robbed out of something else to cool it. The fans that operate that, you know, cool it today, don't exist anymore. So we've cobbled it together. When the smoke gets let out of those fans and we have to replace the message board, that's where it gets dicey. Because there's laws on the books about, there's state laws about how many times it can blink, how bright the lights can be at night, and all that other stuff, because it's a distraction to a driver.
That's crazy. Do you ever drive down Rollins Road through Round Lake and you see that giant bright sign?
Rollins Road is a county road, this is a state road. So there's the difference.
You can't even, like, what is it, by the Dunkin' Donuts or something? You can't even, like, see past the light because the sign
That
is
is
so
Well,
bright.
here's the one that I can't
Right.
believe, is just the red and blues on police cars, they're so bright. That they're tough to drive by at night.
Do you see those a lot behind you?
So I got the dimmer in that here. It's the ones in front of me, the roadblocks.
Oh my goodness, this budget is
Yeah,
gone
we're
sideways.
going on it.
This has
Let's go,
gone
let's move
sideways.
forward.
All right, so,
Yeah, there's the sign.
we're still doing the senior program. We're gonna leave that as is, because that's starting to get more and more popular. The Historical Society, special events, and then, we have in the capital, we only put 20,000, and in contingency, 50.
So, and like the contingency would be, or the, let's see, where would we put the playground equipment?
Well, we could put it back in, we could add more to contingency for that, if you would like, but I think we're gonna get it all done with this budget, right?
With the money we
Or
have
do you
left
think
out
we
of
need more
210?
money?
I'm waiting for Eric, but he's been given the marching orders that to do it with the existing amount of money and don't spend over. We'll see how he does.
Yeah.
We may have to chunk it into a thirds project where we, if we need more money, we'll have to come back and get more money from somewhere.
Or do you wanna put it in there now, just, and if you use it, you use it,
I
if
don't
you don't,
wanna-
you don't?
I particularly don't want to spend the rainy day fund. I would much rather wait and look forward if we need money.
Well, you would only be taking, say, 100 grand. That's less than a month's worth of reserve.
So it takes it from
So it's 6 months,
down to 5 months, and we're at 6.
well, no, you're almost at 7, so 6.85 would bring you down to 5.85,
Correct.
which would be 6 months.
When was the last time we were that low?
How low?
Just under 6 months.
Oh,
2-3
2
years
years
ago?
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, we haven't had 6 months in a long time.
we got a
Here's
grant,
my-
we got a grant that made us get to the 210, because we only budgeted like, what, 130 for that last year?
We had 60,000 and then we put in another 60. We didn't get any grant money for that.
I thought we,
There was like, from the, we got a discount from the company we purchased it from because they're part of that state pool. That was $9,000 or $10,000 we got off of it from them. And then Eric really did the number on putting the poles in ourselves and things like that, and moving mulch around and stuff like that. That's where the savings came in to get, we only spent the
He took down
$85,000.
everything.
Yeah, he took down everything, got rid of everything. We spent the $85,000 on the park equipment is where it's happening, but I think we see where we end up this year.
yeah.
He's got quite a bit of money to play with.
Yeah, that's, as long as you guys have the money left from this year, I think that's fine.
Well, yeah, we're definitely gonna use that. I would like to see that project done,
Yeah.
for sure. Okay, so that's what we got there. Any questions on the town budget? No? All right, well then we're gonna move on to the Senior Express. We've gone to 6 part-time drivers.
Are we still having trouble retaining and getting drivers?
We're actually just finally got up to the 6, and we'll see if they stay, but we're always looking, because you just don't know. You just don't know who's gonna work out, who's not. We're having, where they're only doing the testing once or twice a month, so that makes it difficult. Some people aren't willing to wait. They'll just go and find a job somewhere else. But that's getting better, and they have now just updated or upgraded the testing that they have to do on the website. There's a test they have to do, and the last few have been able to pass much easier. We have people not passing the test.
Yeah, Pace and everybody was having problems with getting the bus drivers to pass. So there's been an adjustment to the test where
They lower their standards?
I don't know if they lowered their standards, but you don't need to know about all the different drugs in detail.
yeah, I think they changed it. I haven't been through it, but I'll go through it in June or July of this year. It's more of a comprehension of an hour-long video versus multiple choice questions about specific drugs and how they related.
Affect people.
Yeah, they had a heavy drug portion in that multiple
That
choice.
just seems like.
A lot
you
of
should-
people don't even know what those drugs are.
You should
and
just know
whatnot.
that you shouldn't have any drugs in your system when you're driving, but like, that shouldn't be a
Well,
requirement.
you can't, because once you go on the list, you're now on the random drug testing list.
Yeah.
Correct.
So you
Yeah, they-
can't. But no, we found a really good group of drivers. The other issue that is growing this a little bit is training is located, it's not in,
It's in Markham.
it's in Markham now, where it used to be in Elgin. And so now we have an overnight stay because the training's 2 days long. So if we're training bus drivers, they get an overnight stay and 2 meals on the per diem trip that we
Yeah,
have
so
to
you're
do.
doing
So
the travel expense.
it's expensive to bring a driver on.
Well, then, do they not want to do it because they don't want to do this day, or do they not care about going down to the training?
So far,
periods?
nobody's complained about it.
We had one ask for 2 nights.
How many bus drivers are walking away after they come back in? After they take the training? I mean, are you losing bus drivers right after?
We've
they come
lost a
back?
couple over the last year. I mean,
Not a lot.
So they're staying after they're trained, obviously.
No, they're staying after they're trained.
For months or weeks or.
the ones that we have are sticking, and it's, what was it, Peter, there's a new gentleman, well, Jim Saylor goes back to my tenure. Lee was here, but Lee is the only, I'll say Lee is the only surviving driver from the previous regime. Now we've got Jim Saylor, who is the longest tenured new driver, I'll call him, sales, I'm sorry. And then,
We got
there's a
Peter.
few more, but there were a couple when we were bringing these other 4 on that got qualified, drove for a day and said, I'm out.
This is not, yeah, it's not what they wanted to do.
Some of it is that there's an adjustment with our clientele because you get a mixture between, you could end up with a lot of lift service or things of that nature. We get all types of passengers.
Can you contract them in some respect, where if we're gonna spend X amount of dollars to send you to this class for 2 days, which you owe us 6 months of driving, a month of driving, 3 months of driving, something along that line.
I mean,
I know
It's
law
not
enforcement
for
does it.
them, it's not I don't think you'd want to put them in that position to be with those people. If that's not what they want to do.
When you say our client, is it that like the clientele is combative or something, or is it just that the driver doesn't want to get out of the bus to use the lift to help people in, they just want to be they would just want to sit and drive?
I
think it's
don't
some
know
of
what
that.
they're,
I think it's some of that they didn't realize there was as much get up, get out.
Because
We're a door-to-door service versus a curb-to-curb.
Yeah.
So they just don't sit at the end of the driveway and open the door.
Then what about a
Can we take
reimbursement?
them out?
If you're not gonna stay at that job for a month then you reimburse us for the cost that we're incurring.
That's a
I mean-
possibility.
Yeah, yeah, it's been discussed, but we weren't getting the number of drivers through the door.
Right.
I just thought, why don't we take them out on the bus to see what the driving is about before
Yeah,
we
like a
send it
shadow.
to the
We
test?
should.
That's a good
We-
idea.
Why did we not think of that before? Why is it
Because you
just
just
coming
thought
to
of
me
it right
now? I
now.
just did right now.
Well, that's what I did when
I
I
would specifically take them on a route where you know there's a lot
Right,
of
exactly, and they
problem.
can see what it's about, because then maybe you wouldn't have that after their training.
Well, that's what I did, is I took a ride on the bus when I first got here, and then we put together a survey.
I'm gonna bring
to
that up
see.
to Eric.
Yeah. That's probably in the waiting period for training.
Right, exactly,
put
they
them on
can
the
just put
bus.
them on a bus for a day. Doesn't mean they're driving it, they're just gonna be a ride-along.
Well, you can either do ride-along, or you can do a minimum wage helper day, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? If you put them on the books.
There you go.
He's paying for a day to go with as a helper, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
So that person feels as though he's not getting,
They're not spending their time for
Well, I
nothing.
Correct.
wouldn't mind paying them for a day to do a ride-along at all.
Even
That's cheaper than sending them through all the training and everything else.
yeah, it's cheaper than a hotel room, 2 days.
Yeah, exactly, so,
Even my company, one of the first things we do is
I don't know why I did not think.
Job
we job shadow, but like after, you're like in sales, for example, for a month or two, they try to get you to do a ride along with the drivers that are going and picking up waste, like, so you understand what it is you're selling to your customers. That's not a bad idea. What do we pay our drivers?
Our drivers are getting paid between $15 and $17.
Is that competitive? For,
It is
Yes.
competitive
for a
Yes,
similar type of job?
for
Yes.
our pay space.
Part-
yes.
Okay. So we're not necessarily losing people because they're not happy with the wages?
They're not CDL required, so it is
That's a whole
within.
nother avenue.
When we, again, in the future, have a time where we are experiencing a shortage of drivers, would it be worthwhile to maybe offer a bonus to come
Sign
on
in.
board? But then to Ray's point, you have to be like, you'll get the bonus, but you pay it back unless you stay a year or something.
Or they don't get the
They don't
bonus
get the
until
bonus until they've
after.
been here for a year.
3 months or
part of it,
6
like you
months,
get part of
yeah.
it up front.
Quarterly.
Yeah. But
Something
that,
like that.
instead of raising the salary, that might be another way to attract people.
We could look at that.
Yeah, there's all sorts of those avenues.
How many buses do we have that are running?
4.
So the 6 drivers are just rotation?
2 days, yeah, it's roughly 2 days for each driver, because you have them, they're part-time, and you gotta deal with that, the hours that they can work.
What time of day do we run the buses?
7:30 to 3:30. Usually don't get back until 4:30.
No, they're usually back before.
3:30.
By 4.
Is there demand for nighttime route?
Not at this time.
Okay.
So I just reached out to Scott over at County at McRae and those guys. And one of the things I want to do is get chummy with them and find out what they're seeing as far as ridership on their PACE bus, not McRae, but PACE buses. McRae runs later at night, and it'd be nice to know what their numbers are too.
Yeah.
Without going in and being so rude as to FOIA them. So I just went through all the PTAC meetings, put them in my calendar, and also the transportation meetings, so I can start to get to know those guys over at McDOT who are running these bus programs. So what he tried to push to me today again was the Uber program that they have. Well, the Uber program doesn't work up here. It works in Huntley and Algonquin, but it doesn't work up here. And
The Uber
Well, because we're not,
it's
we're
cost sharing.
with
It's-
Uber?
with Uber.
Yeah, so the first, if you're over 60 or disabled, the first X amount of mileage, and I can't remember what that number is off the top of my head, is $2, and then it's 25 cents every mile after. Then if you're just an ordinary person riding, it's $4 for that initial hit, and then 25 cents a mile. So that's what I've been looking at is their programs, and this is the age-old battle. We go door to door, we help people with groceries. Their program doesn't, so my goal is to get, that sounds so bad, try to infiltrate the transportation department and try to sway them to run a door-to-door program with McRae and get it to come up here.
And then we would just not have to run it as much, or we would not
We
have
partner. I
Yeah.
think we would partner. We take a certain geographic area. We partner and intergovernmental agreement or whatever it is to cover the cost. Kind of my idea. We still have. I know that Richmond's gone out and trying to look for grants outside of the county. So they actually went to Pace and they're renting a bus because they found out we're paying $100 a month for a bus. They park a bus over at Hebron in the Village Hall, and Richmond runs it for them twice a week to the grocery stores here in Mchenry.
That's nice.
So, yeah, so they've partnered to do something up there. I'll learn more about it as I get back into the supervisors meetings here shortly.
Right.
Yep.
Sorry for all the questions.
No, that's,
You're asking
our
good
buses are
questions.
lifeblood, and that's, we want to drive that program home and make it bigger. There is, we've always had a need on the weekends for church. That's a part-time schedule. The question is, how do we fill up a bus with 11 or 12 people that are all going to the same church? You're going to get picked up at 7.
You need to get sign-up sheets at the church.
You know, you get
talk
them to work
churches.
with us. Yeah.
And you can do the same thing with doctor's offices, or with grocery stores, or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me?
Sure.
Okay,
That's-
so,
And actually, having been here a little more often during the day, hearing what Erin is talking about with the riders, she's getting more riders on than just onesie twosies. She's asking if they mind tripling up or doubling up, so it's pretty good.
Like, do we have people that just want the bus to themselves?
Yes.
well, a lot of that happened because of COVID.
Makes sense.
We could not take more than one person at a time for a while, and then we could take 2. But it took them probably a good 9 months before they would allow us to have multiple people back on the bus.
Yeah.
It's about time to survey them again. Take a look at the survey that we gave out last time. I've got the data of the survey, but it's probably time to look at it again and really hammer home the multiple rider thing. Yeah, there's some people use this as their personal limo service, which is not right.
Out there, senior, disabled, et cetera, then.
Correct.
But they're seniors.
And they have
qualified.
multiple places to go to.
It's not just a doctor, it's socialization and giving them the ability to live at home and still go to the grocery store, socialize, and get their doctor stuff. Probably the top 3 things.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
their freedom. They
Yeah.
get their hair done. They don't have to
Right.
depend on their family to take them for everything. Because family's still helping them out
Yeah.
if they have family. All right,
Okay.
so I kind of
That's it.
left everything pretty much the way it is. Risk management was upgraded. Our dispatching software did go up a little bit, so I increased that. The fuel, that went up, we increased it, and then the case is still the same. We are going to need some new uniforms and stuff for the drivers, shirts and whatnot, so we had to add that in. And
So-
that's about it on the,
I know that she wants to go out to do that. The $2,000 for uniforms, that's gonna be a collared shirt and a safety vest. It says Mchenry Township Senior Service bus thing. Is that right now we've got all different apparel going on and it kind of looks haphazard. I'm trying to clean it up just a little bit. And the safety portion of the vest, because they're outside of the vehicle with other cars going around it, I think they need that.
Yeah. Also, it's
Right.
confidence for the people that are riding the bus. If
absolutely.
they're seeing different people show up wearing different stuff, like they could question, is this the
It
right?
definitely helps with that.
Yeah.
because
If they have their
there are
foot
places
on a
out-
pavement and they're working for the township, they have to be wearing a vest or class 2 reflective.
What's class 2
That is the minimum requirement for the vest. It's stripes up and down.
Okay.
Class 3 is on the sleeves.
Okay.
So that's if they have a foot on the pavement. For Torma Torma does not cover anybody who's not wearing that, who's working for the township.
That's on the
In
road.
any
When you say
capacity.
foot on
I got
the
it.
pavement, what do you mean by foot on the pavement?
Once
The
they
foot is
step
outside the bus, on the pavement.
Okay,
Does that include married people then too?
they do.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
They do
right.
have, yeah, they have vests in their cars.
Right, they all should have vests.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions on the senior transportation budget?
They should get, Adam, they should get bulletproof vests for walking down the sides of houses.
If we're working for the township.
Especially in this county and township, yes.
All right, if there's no questions on that, we will skip to the parks. Nope, we will not. We'll go straight to GA.
This is our favorite one. Ray, wait.
The favorite one.
This is the one where historically we have disagreements.
This is the one we historically have disagreements, but I am here to fight that battle. All right, so you notice that you have the revenue separate on here. It's at the top, only because it's a separate taxing body. So there's the information on that. I lowered the replacement tax again. I don't know, I may need to lower that more, but the interest income, I just put it up to 6. There's not a lot to do there. The town fund will only be contributing $100,000 this year. So that means we're making up monies there. Let's see, salaries are where they're at. I don't think anything really increased. It's all pretty much the same. Actually, she did it at 65%.
Where?
I have written up 65%.
HRA, yeah, so that'll come down a little bit.
Yeah, should be 60%.
I didn't catch that.
I didn't either. I will double check that with her.
Aaron did this.
No,
Or no, oh,
Flo
Flo did.
does. Aaron doesn't do any of this. General assistance, I kept it
Well, this
at
is cheap.
25,000, I mean. Our grant did go up. It probably will go up again. But my GA cases have gone down. So we had 4, we went down to 3, and now I'm down to 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because
so
their life improved or
they've
because?
gotten approved, yeah. So we have gotten, what do you call it? Money back.
So they get moved to, they're either life improves and they get off the program, or they move to another aid program. And what happens if they get to a state program, right, we get reimbursed from the state,
We only get
From
reimbursed if they get
feds?
SSI.
SSI.
If they get disability, there is no reimbursement.
No, but what I was saying, so my question is, did their life improve and that's why they weren't with
Yes,
us?
they've gotten in the right program, or we've been able to get them the services they need, or they've gone back to work and become, employable again. I mean, that's our goal with any GA client. The ones that are on there for a really long time, like the one I have right now, it's a disability, and he's working with all the right agencies, and we have everything we need. But it's just a struggle to get him the disability.
Yeah.
And for him, it's going to be even harder because he's never worked. He's never worked. So, having said that, we kept the GA at the 25, so we should be good there. The other expenses, I kept them all pretty much the same. The only increase was in the catastrophic insurance. That has gone up. Torma did find another company to source the Mackey insurance.
Explain what that is and why we have it.
The medical insurance?
Yeah.
What do you want me to explain? It's medical insurance to cover us in case somebody is not covered and they're on GA. We are responsible for their medical bills.
Really?
So,
Yes. So that's part of the GA grant. Now, having said that, with the Affordable Care Act, they should be able to get on some sort of Medicaid or whatever, but there's a lot of people that will not get on it because they think they don't need it, or in the Affordable Care Act, if they're working and they're low income, they still need to pay for it.
Yeah.
And they're like, I can't afford that. Well, when I get them on GA, because now they've lost their job, they have no insurance. So if something happens to them, or whatever might happen, anything can happen. This covers us.
How,
And it's a
how does it become our responsibility to pay someone's
state
benefits?
statute,
JB.
state statute.
Madigan and Pritzker?
Yep.
No, this is long before then. Just an FYI, this happened in 1989, I believe.
Madigan's
80.
been around since 69.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's true, that's true. But this had to do with that class action lawsuit that happened. But here's the other thing, is that I have had clients that were on it, that got it. We've had clients that have died.
So then Torma pays it out, basically?
No, it's not
Or
Torma,
the-
it's
whatever the
a
agency
different
is.
agency. Yeah, there's only a
Run by
few
the purchase.
insurance companies that will even do this kind of coverage. Some townships have decided not to use it at all because they assume they can get on Medicaid or the Affordable Care Act.
That seems dangerous.
It's taking a chance.
Yeah.
I know it can bankrupt, we've had it happen, so I've been through that process, so I'm more cautious. I'm not a risk taker, but that's totally your guys' call, whether you want to have it or not.
I don't think it makes sense not to have that, considering what you just told us. If someone develops cancer,
$1 million worth of doctor bills.
The value's there.
we would cease
We would
to
be on the
function.
hook.
Yeah, no, not worth it.
Okay. All right, so we will move on from that.
Just pull it out of emergency assistance. I'm just kidding. Come on. John used to nickel and dime the emergency assistance budget.
I'm not there yet.
I'll take his place.
Okay, so, everything else I pretty much kept the same. I'm looking to see. Yeah, I pretty much kept everything the same. I did increase the training and travel. So like when I go down to TOI or whatever, it can come out of this budget, not the town budget. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, there's
I have.
training, no, I'll talk about it on Thursday. There's training in Rockford for all of this too, that we go to every year, see what they're shoving down our throats.
Well, it's not in Rockford anymore, it's at that casino.
Oh, down in,
Shucks.
East Peoria.
Peoria.
East Peoria.
darn.
Paradise?
Yes, that's where I gotta go.
That's where I was earlier today.
Oh, well, when I go down there, you'll have to let me know, because
That's a
I'm
road
really not a
trip, man.
fan.
Well, there was a traffic accident, that's why I was 10 minutes late. I
Yeah,
was gonna
see,
be 5 minutes early.
Well, you did it on the right day, because if the snow would have hit, you'd have been in trouble.
all right, so in
Go ahead,
emergency
finish.
assistance, I'm at 175. I did increase it by 25,000.
How much
You
of
guys
the one?
like that?
How much of the 150 did we use?
120, 800.
120 already, and I got 2 more months to go, that's why I increased it.
I think the increase is unnecessary.
Okay. Okay.
150.
I think we're gonna have a lot of homeless pretty soon. That's gonna happen, I think, regardless of whether we increase this or not. The rents are so high.
I
that
think they'll be
people cannot
coming down
afford
with all the deportations.
it. No,
Opens up a lot of low-income housing.
No, I don't.
no,
I don't think it's going to, because like
I
a lot of
don't,
the,
we don't have that here.
we don't have multifamily housing. They just built the workforce housing over here, which
Right,
I
and
heard.
those
Is,
are for people that are actually working.
I heard that. I don't know if it's true, but I heard that that's something like 60% rented and leased already.
Yeah,
So
it's over
it's not even
60% full.
finished being built.
Right.
These ones over here?
Yeah.
And you have to be working,
I
and you
think,
have to be able to pay 30%.
I believe the
of your
project
income.
in Mchenry that's over off the blacktop is, they're already looking for renters and they aren't even built out yet.
Correct.
The one after.
The lower income, so you could be
The old
working
bill.
40 hours at Walmart and not be able to afford to live here.
Yep.
I mean, I have seniors calling, I have everybody under the sun.
They're not 1 month behind. What we assist them with, the maximum amount of money, doesn't even cover 1 month's worth of rent.
Not anymore. It
And they're
used to.
multiple months behind. That's our biggest category is rent.
Right, and it's the biggest area that we see. So what's happening is that I have 3 right now I cannot help. They are too far behind. The amounts that they are way too much, and the landlord is going to evict. They will be out on the street, and our shelter is
That's
now
too
full and using overload into Super 8.
And we're, townships are kind of the last.
We're the last
line-
resort.
Yeah, we're the last resort, meaning that they've exhausted state and county help, and they're coming to us.
Right.
The questions that I've always asked around this are just related to like, how many people are we seeing that are coming back? Because we talked about like, can they get the
I will
rent?
tell you, the majority of people I'm seeing right now are new. They are not even people that I've had in the system before.
What did we talk about last year when we went through the
I
budget?
could pull.
There
Last year,
was
we only
one
had 2
person-
duplicates.
Yeah, 1 or 2 duplicates
Yeah.
from previous years.
And we had asked, as part of approving the budget last year, we'd asked like, okay, the people that need something like rent, but then need something else in the future, can we make sure that we like help them? But like once in each category, but if it's a bunch of new people, I mean,
Well, here's the other thing too. Let's say they need rent out. It's gonna suck up the maximum that we're paying out right now. But let's say it was a car repair and then they need rent out. You got $500 in a car, well, car repairs are $750.
who establishes the amounts that we help them with? You guys?
Yeah,
Is it time?
there
There's-
are some guidelines provided by the state, but yeah, you have to look at your area.
There's only certain categories you can do.
But knowing what you said, Debbie, about that the rent amount that we provide doesn't even help with 1 month rent, or maybe Gary said
No, the
that.
average for a 1 bedroom right now is anywhere between 11 and 1,300 a month.
So,
That's
when is the last time the GA, or when was the last time the EA amounts paid to people were evaluated or updated?
we just updated it
Yeah.
just
A few
recently,
months ago.
probably in January. It might have been in
Yeah.
January.
I don't know, committed.
I'd have to look at I can look at it, I have my computer here.
This is not a necessary, this is a want to.
The GA is the
EA
necessary.
is
EA is
they-
a over.
they want to.
Right.
Can we
It's
pull
not
the
a-
funds out of GA though, if we need it for
No.
EA? No.
No,
No,
no.
no, once it's in GA, it stays.
Whatever we levy stays.
There's small townships that have a $50,000 highway department budget, and they have $800,000 in GA.
They cannot
Because they
anymore.
can't touch
That
it.
hasn't happened in years.
Okay,
Only for the fact that when they did I don't know what department that is, but they can no longer have more than 2 years reserved in any fund, or they get fined.
so where does it, how do they?
So
get
we
that-
paid a fine,
How
because we
does the
did.
GA money go out? Where's it go?
What do you mean?
If they've got more than 2 years GA,
They had to get rid of it a
How-
couple
how?
of years ago.
how would they get rid of it? Transfer it to their parks department?
They were allowed,
gave
no, they were allowed 1 year, one time, to transfer the money back to town. And they had to do that year. They can no longer
Okay.
do that. But the state gave them that ability, because you cannot take money from GA and give it back to
That
town.
must have been during COVID. Probably, in that
time.
I wanna say it was just before COVID,
Yeah.
when that happened. So
I've heard a lot
nobody
of
should
people talk
have
about that.
excess GA budgets anymore. And if they do, they better hope somebody doesn't find out.
So how much do we have in reserve in our GA?
We don't.
We don't.
I don't run a reserve. That's why the township gives me 100,000 to do it, because we only levied for 90,000. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
And how
don't.
much of that
I don't
GA
carry
fund-
I don't carry a balance,
Okay.
and I would never carry more than a year.
And
It's not necessary.
since we have a, one person in GA, how
Right
much
now.
is there carried over from this year, from last year?
There will not be a carryover from this year to last year. So, hold on one second.
Now, GA is required. EA is not.
Correct, GA is required.
Required, EA
is-
is not.
Correct. The statutory requirement is for
So I
GA,
think
not
if we take
emergency.
that 25,000
Here's mine.
that we're upping our EA and put it towards the busing service, that would be more useful to more people. And it would, instead of, it would leave EA in the same position we had this year, 150,000. Then it would put 25,000 into the busing. That would save him a lot of headaches. And the 150 is fair to the community.
We have said the last several years, oh, it's gonna be worse, it's gonna be worse. It doesn't seem like,
Well, that's
These
why
are-
I've increased it.
yeah, it doesn't seem like it's gotten
It
worse.
continues to get worse.
What, I mean, Mark, what we have to spend on here from prior years, right? So you can see 21 to 22, we actually only spent 70,000 in GA.
So I
But-
only have 34,000 left to spend in the GA from our budget from last year.
Right?
So with 34,000, I probably won't have anything left.
Right,
over.
so you'll have
I'll
just
have
the amount
zero.
you'll need, and so you'll have just the amount you'll need next year. We'll put the 25,000
But-
towards the buses.
Okay, so Mark, just humor me,
You
so
can't
it's kind
take
of,
it from GA to the bus.
No, not GA, EA.
it's kind of,
I
okay,
can't
so,
take it from EA and put it in town. I can't do that.
Can only go one way
It can only
from
go
town
one
to
way.
EA. Can't
You
go back.
You can't go back. This
You
is
could
money I have.
you'd have to reduce the 100,000.
I would
You'd have to
reduce
the
100,000 to 75. If you want me
Yeah.
to do that, I can do that.
So,
But I would
so-
still leave my numbers the same.
Okay. So, well, no, because then there wouldn't be enough money.
That, sure there would.
If we took 25,000, if we only gave 75,000.
So I
to
have a
town,
beginning balance of 238 that's left over from the prior year, because you guys gave us 187. So we try to keep 1 year, what do you call it?
Reserve?
Reserve.
That's it.
So we do have
Reserve.
a year of reserves,
I have 230, well, what does it say?
238.
238 is my carryover, 258, sorry. I'm
Okay,
reading it
so
wrong.
that's
So I
75,
have 1 year, I have
One-
1 year reserve.
1 year and 75,000.
1 year and 75,000.
Right, because 1 year is 187.50, and you've got two,
To run GA is 277. So what you're saying, I can reduce the transfer from town to GA, if that's what you want me to do. I can
But
do that.
you would subsequently have to reduce that emergency assistance from 175 to 150. Otherwise, your budget would be out of whack. No?
no, they're two separate
Because I can
things.
reduce the transfer. All right.
Yeah,
I
but whatever
reduce-
you reduce
But
the
you'll use more of your
transfer.
But
reserve.
that's okay, this can go up and this number would go down. So instead of having 9 months, 9.5 months, I would have 9 months. We're only reducing it by
Right.
25,000.
Right, and put
And
that,
I know exactly what he's saying, and then he can take that 25,000 that
Then they'll
someone's
still
gonna
have
give me
175,000.
and do it that way.
but we get to transfer the 25,000 out towards the buses, and that's a compromise.
Right, it's a
It works out for
compromise, and I
everybody.
totally get what he's saying, and I can do that easily. That's an easy change.
Conceptually, I agree.
I'm looking at the,
Conceptually, I totally agree.
Yeah,
More bang for the buck for the buses.
for
than-
everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Everybody then gets
Instead of
help.
one or two or three
Because nobody's
people.
help is
Nobody
not
gets left
less.
behind.
Right,
Right, nobody's left behind.
exactly.
It's a compromise, and
So-
everybody wins.
Yeah, I just have to
What it
say
would
no.
do is reduce my ending balance. Look at the front sheet,
Yeah. So it takes it would,
here. Let me do it really quick.
Debbie, let me ask you this.
so it wouldn't change
Go ahead,
anything.
ask me. Go ahead.
How much do you think you will spend, right now, you're at 120,794. How much do you
I
think
have
we
2
will?
more months.
How much do you think we'll spend by the end of your fiscal year?
Oh, at least another 40,000.
So you
And I
think-
don't have 40,000.
So you think we'll end at, we could theoretically end at like 160.
Correct.
So here's what I'm saying. If you look at the EA, in 21 we used just under 70,000.
Yeah.
In 22 we used just under 99,000.
Yes.
In 23 we used just under 146,000.
Yeah.
That's a 40% increase in spend every year.
Okay?
120 up to 160, let's say it was 160,000 with the over the 146 is a 10% increase. The trend is that we're spending more money every year. If we left that as is, I don't even know that the 175 is enough.
It should be.
If you do again, what
All right, so here's the thing. I think and this is just me talking just from what I've known and watched and seen happen over the years. When we have these times where the economy is really bad and we have these booms where the rents go up or the mortgages go up or whatever, we see a huge influx of people not being able to afford where they live, the sheltering issue. So here's the thing, I may not be able to help them with a full month's rent because the rents have become ridiculous or whatever, but we will be helping others to find a place temporarily so they can get to the next step
what I'm saying is,
in keeping them off the
if
street.
if you have 9 months of reserves, over 9, almost 10 months of reserves, you will you're gonna end up at your
Yeah.
current pace, you will end up at the end of the next fiscal year basically completely wiping out the 175 too. And I'm sitting here thinking that you just said that it's not even high enough to cover 1 month's rent. So is it time to reevaluate that number, take a little out of the reserves, increase the EA a little bit, maybe 200,000, take the 25,000 out of the transfer, use up a little bit more of the reserves and
I
make
could
sure.
do that. I see what you're saying too.
Like, I
Well,
wanna
and I will
help
tell
people,
you,
but
here's the thing, if we do that, which we could, I would take the transfer down to 75,000, increase the EA to 200, and then if that money's not used, it stays there. It's not
Correct.
going nowhere else.
Correct.
It's not like I can spend that money anywhere else.
But I think we
And
need
that
to
will give us a
evaluate the
good
amount that we give for
indication
rent.
of what is needed and what's not needed.
Yeah,
Because I don't just throw money out there.
no, but I would agree with that, and I think, I agree with Mark taking the 25 out of that line item to put towards the bus service, because that's taken away.
Pardon me, I'm sorry.
I would agree with increasing the EA to 200.
Okay.
The
How
line
does
item.
everybody else feel about what he's talking
I don't know
about?
what I'm saying,
Let
right?
finish.
So
Okay.
we increase the budget for that, reduce the reserves a little bit, take the 25,000 and reduce the transfer so we can add that back to the bus service and take up the place of the grant.
Okay,
We have the capability to then help more people with the bus. We have the capability to help more people with the EA if we evaluate what the rent amount is.
right.
And we're out of reserves like less than a month.
I'm with you there.
I like your idea. I think that's a good.
I don't think we should show, especially in this budget, like I understand with the overall town fund that we should have maybe a year of reserves. I agree with that. I don't think with this budget, we should have almost a year of reserves. We should use the money.
Okay. I'm with you guys.
Unless you completely, Gary, what are your
Are
thoughts?
you are you
Oh,
okay with
I'm
that?
right there with you.
Are
Are you understanding?
I'm
what the-
understanding exactly, but that's where the trend is going.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta follow the
All
trend.
right,
If they want, if it's gonna increase by
40% 2 years in a
40%, it's gonna keep going.
All right, so here, let me see.
Where do we get into that jam though, where you can't transfer money in? If you spend all of your money, people come in and need assistance, you have to tell them we don't have any money at some point.
No. All right, so that puts us down to
I thought that was,
7.18.
And that's close to the amount of reserves that we have in the overall town fund.
There you go.
Okay.
Right, it only leaves us with 143, which is fine. I am perfectly fine with spending every last penny. if
I
that's what
I
we
don't
do.
feel good about us having like a bunch of reserves that are not allocated in the budget.
Correct, okay. So that change is easy, and if you guys are okay with that, I'm okay with that.
Aye.
All right, so I go ahead and I will make that change.
this is minus 20.
This
That
is
helps everybody.
75,000.
Right.
Yeah.
So my concern is not so much GAEA, because that only helps a few people. I like the parks that hundreds of people visit, the buses that service hundreds of people, and these things that are to the great majority of people can use, rather than helping this guy out because he didn't go to work. Sorry for that my comment like that, but my concern is helping the groups of the mass of the people, not the individuals.
And being fiscally responsible.
And being totally responsible about it.
My mom and my sister.
No, I think that's pretty good. That's exactly what.
I just made that change and we should be fine.
Good.
So explain to me, we got wadded up last year a little bit about transfers that,
Okay, so.
I think we were
here's-
worried about earmarking funds for the playground equipment, and if it was in a certain contingency fund or playground equipment fund, then we couldn't move that if we didn't use all of it.
Correct, but that was a different, what he's talking about is, so say that I use up all the money in GA. That's all gone, everything we budgeted and allocated, all the reserves are gone.
In GA.
If somebody came in and needed help, the town would have to pay.
For GA.
Correct.
You couldn't take it out of EA.
There's no more money left in there.
so if you
So if I
take,
run out of money, then it gets paid out of the town fund. It is a statutory requirement for GA. You don't have a choice.
but
So,
there's different requirements, so you have one person on GA, it's not gonna bankrupt the system.
No, and
Let's
it's
say
on
you
town.
let's say you get 5 more people that qualify for GA. You'd have to burn through all of that. You have to burn through all your EA too, for those people that qualify. Then it goes to the town. So,
You could use
The
part of
question
the
is-
EA budget to pay for GA expenses if you run out of the GA specific funds, right?
only if EA's at 0 too.
No, I'm saying, if EA has 150,000 and GA is now at 0, you could pull money out of EA.
yes, because it's in the GA budget.
And we just increased that by another
It's
25,000.
just a line item that I can transfer money from.
10%, right?
10% of the overall budget.
And we're basically, your next year, you will be $50,000 more in the EA budget than you are today.
Correct.
I don't see it.
Correct.
And it's much harder for someone to qualify for GA anyways.
It is, but I believe we're gonna get, so like how everybody's kind of rolled off, I would assume because of what's happening and people losing jobs and whatnot, that's gonna increase again. So, I'm sure I'll get back up. I'm just hoping that we don't see what I seen in 2009. That was not, 2008 and 9 was horrendous.
Oh, that, I don't think we're.
It's completely different now. We don't have the adjustable rate mortgages where people's interest rate is jumping up 9% and suddenly they can't pay for their house anymore.
We have
There-
that happening. You have people that do not understand adjustable rates.
There are so few adjustable rate mortgages that have been sold over the last
There's
5
a
years.
few people out there that don't understand adjustable rates.
Totally agree, but like before, that was like what they were pushing people towards. And
Sure.
now mortgage standards are much tighter than they were 10 years ago.
But they're still pretty loose considering they're giving people
Yeah, they're
mortgages
loaning anybody
for,
money.
you know, who's paying a $2,500 mortgage? That's ridiculous.
But the standards didn't change for debt to income. Those people were also
Well,
making.
2,000 of it is taxes, so.
Yeah.
Well, and there you go. There you go. We're giving them their money back.
I say everybody pays in singles.
We're pennies.
All right, so do we have any other questions on the budget?
Well, I think
Any other
I think we covered it.
changes? So really, the only change is that GA change.
Correct.
So considering that, I know that what are our requirements as far as like voting on and agreeing to this for it to go to the
Okay,
next step?
so if you guys are all fine with this, we're okay with the assessor's budget, we're okay with the GRB and PHR. What we'll do at the regular board meeting on Thursday is that we will have a motion and whatever to have the budget and appropriation hearing 30 days out, which will be at your,
Okay, so this is a
March
workshop. There's no action to be taken here tonight.
No.
The board meeting, we take action for publication of the budget based
has to
on
be-
the workshops for the 30 days.
then we'll have the budget and appropriation hearing 30 days out, which will be at the next board meeting. We'll do it prior, and then we should be good. Because then we'll have published for 30 days. And we should be good.
Good work. I think it's a great conversation. Conceptually, like the ideas. I think that's much better for the folks all the way around, including us. Well done there. Didn't see that coming. But it's good. Thank you for the bus money. That's huge. Any board comments other than that? Limited to 1 minute. Okay. Any public comment? No public comment. Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
All right, thank you guys.
Yeah,
I'll have a-
I had to see it on paper. That's
And we
why.
didn't actually spend any more money. Oh, yeah?
Wait, is that